A Harvard professor representing Harvey Weinstein is out as a faculty dean.
Did you hear about the law professor who just lost a job for daring to be a lawyer for an accused sexual harasser?
Sullivan was also verbally abused, and the residence where he lives with his family was vandalized.
Ronald Sullivan and his wife have been deans at this Harvard dorm for years. But now some students say,
as a survivor of sexual assault, I don't feel safe in Winthrop House.
This campaign by a group called Our Harvard Can Do Better worked.
Dean Sullivan must step down.
Harvard removed Sullivan and his wife from the residence hall. They feel unsafe, they say.
They're lying. They're lying.
Alan Dershowitz taught law at Harvard for decades.
Anybody who says they feel unsafe in the presence of a lawyer and his wife are looking you in the eye and committing the equivalent of perjury. They don't feel unsafe. They've learned the language of the new McCarthyism. The mantra of the day is, we feel unsafe. Well, that's just too bad. Learn to deal with it. You're going to have to live in the real world in which your neighbors, your friends, your relatives are going to disagree with you. And if you start using the criteria of unsafe in your life, you're going to be a failure. More important, I don't care if you're a failure. You're going to impose restrictions on the rest of us.
These are mostly young women. Some have been raped, assaulted. Isn't it reasonable that they don't want to face that again?
No, it's not reasonable not to want to face the reality that due process requires that everybody be represented.
So he didn't get fired from his professor job. Don't the students have a right to say, look, we're living with this guy, he creeps us out because of what he does? Get somebody else.
Well, if they could say that, then they could say it about somebody who supports Donald Trump for president, somebody who is a Muslim, somebody who's gay, somebody who's Jewish, you name it. We need to educate our students that free speech is for everybody, due process is for everybody.
Dershowitz has represented hated people.
I was the lawyer of last resort. If you couldn't get another lawyer, you came to me.
Sullivan, too, often represents people accused of murder and even terrorism.
In order for the rights of all of us, the rights of the guilty and the innocent alike to be protected, we have to live in a system where we vigorously defend the guilty.
You get the right to counsel no matter how despicable you are thought to be and how horrible the crime you're accused of. You get due process.
Weinstein has lots of lawyers. Sullivan didn't have to volunteer to do this.
When you're a tenured professor, I think you have a special obligation to take the most controversial cases, because law firms often won't take cases like that.
Because of Dean Sullivan's decision to represent Harvey Weinstein, I don't feel welcome here.
These students would have fired John Adams. They would have not allowed him to come to the Constitutional Convention or write the Declaration of Independence because he had defended the people who were accused of the Boston Massacre.
The Boston Massacre helped start the American Revolution. Bostonians threw snowballs and rocks at British soldiers. The soldiers then fired into the crowd.
His cousin Sam Adams was furious at him. He wasn't a true revolutionary.
Adams opposed the British.
And yet he thought the right to represent somebody transcends any of these other ideological or political issues.
Later in life, Adams wrote that his defense of the British soldiers was one of the best pieces of service I ever rendered. Judgment of death would have been as foul a stain as the execution of witches.
This should have been an educational moment.
Instead, the administrator just removed Sullivan.
He failed that educational moment. Instead of teaching the students, he acted impulsively at their demand, and he let the inmates run the asylum.
Almost all the administrators caved.
If you don't cave, you won't be an administrator.
Dean Sullivan, your decisions have created a harmful situation among Harvard's student body, but especially for Harvard's black community.
Dean Sullivan is black, but black students attacked him too.
Dean Sullivan told me to my face that I should view his representation of Harvey Weinstein as a good thing, because that representation will trickle down to me and other black men like me who constantly face an unjust justice system. To that, I say, F that.
Their speeches cited an ever-growing list of aggrieved groups.
Ensure the safety and well-being of all students and workers in their houses, including survivors, transgender and gender non-conforming people.
It's like an Olympics of oppression.
Everybody wants to claim the mantle of victimization. The more victimized you are, the higher your status and prestige.
LGBTQ people, undocumented, documented, and TPS people.
And the more you can claim that you're part of the oppressed group rather than the oppressor, you win the oppression Olympics.
Indigenous people, first generation, low income people, and people otherwise marginalized.
You have to call yourself a victim today to feel welcome at many universities.
The protesters' strongest point is that the residence hall is an intimate space where students eat, sleep, and study. Shouldn't they get the dean they want? At the Marginal Revolution blog, Tyler Cowan writes, "Harvard's right. It's about helping students focus on their studies, removing distractions." I can see their point. These people live together.
I don't see their point at all. You'll live in a world where there are going to be many distractions. You're not going to live in a world where you can determine everything according to your own view. If you want to do that, move to China or Iran. You want to go to American University, you have to learn how to deal with distractions.